Good evening, Emily, your mic. Good evening, good evening, good evening, amazing law nerd. I think it was like 15 minutes ago that I said, guys, go get dinner, do what you need to do. Don't worry. We're not going to be live again tonight. I need to just stop saying things because holy moly, am I wrong? I am wrong. I am very wrong. I am wrong. Law nerds, I apologize. I said, go do the things. Just go do the things. They're going to want to sleep on it. They're not going to be back tonight. I said all of the words. And the jury was like, bet. I don't even think they deliberated for a full 3 hours. They got dinner and they were like, we got dinner and verdicts. The verdict is going to be read at 6:20 local time, so about 10 minutes from now. I'm stunned. For all of you that were like, Emily, I said it was like the Murdaugh case. You were correct. I was incorrect. I am still buffering. Let me read you the email that we got from court from the court liaison. The jury has reached a verdict. It will be read at 6:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I think we're now in Mountain Daylight Time. MDT? Emily, pish posh, it doesn't matter. Not sure if the attorneys will be giving statements after the verdict is read. If they do, they will be down in the parking lot. If they don't, members of the media will be told at the courthouse. So we're going to roll the intro. We sent out a notification to the Law Nerd app. We might send one out again in a few minutes. It is 6:07 local time. They will be back at 6:20 local time. We're going to roll the intro. We're going to talk. We'll probably send out another notification, Megalina, at like jury or verdict to be read in like 5 minutes, just in case anyone didn't get their last notification. It's nice to have a heads up, but that's fast. That's fast. How you guys doing? Nervous, right? It feels worse when you're the lawyer waiting for the verdict. I imagine it feels weirder if you're Kouri Richins, because that is really fast. I'm like, nah, they're going to want to talk about it. It's 3 weeks of trial. It's 45 witnesses. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verdict sheets. Nope. They deliberated like 3 hours. They some of you haven't even finished replay crew on the closing arguments yet, and they have a verdict. Everything I have said about this trial, it has continued to surprise me. I continue to be surprised. I have continued to be surprised. And we have a verdict in about 10 minutes. We didn't even have a chance to poll how long they would be. But I don't even think I would have put up a poll that they would be back tonight. I don't even think I would have, because I was just like, nah, they won't be back tonight. I am confidently wrong. Maybe you're right. A lot of you are like, maybe only 8 jurors and it goes faster. So if your heart feels like it's about to pound out of your chest, don't worry. That's how the lawyers feel too. I am very surprised that there we are. They have a verdict. They're going to read it in about 10 minutes. We're going to be here live. I'm going to roll the intro. I'm going to just sit here and buffer in real time with all of you. And we're going to see what they do, because that is, by all accounts, very, very fast on a long trial and serious counts, which means whatever they believed it probably prior to going into closing arguments and didn't have a ton that they needed to decide. Because that's quick. That's really quick. All right, let's roll the intro. Let's hang out. We got 10 minutes. All of you are just like, I know, shake it out. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Just shake it out. It's going to be what it's going to be. Remember in the Heard case when I was like, and sometimes the verdict forms are wrong and they have to send them back, and they brought out the verdict forms and Judge A was like, yeah, no, the verdict forms are incorrect. You need to go back. Right? That was stressful. Remember that? Yeah, well, I guess they're done in like 3 hours. That's surprisingly fast. Let's roll the intro. Let's wait for a verdict together. Hey there, I'm lawyer and legal analyst Emily D. Baker, and this is your go-to destination for live court coverage. I break down the law, the strategy, and the evidence in real time so you know what's happening. No law degree required. So join the law nerds in the chat. They're here for the facts, not and let's get to court. All right, I think we'll probably send out, Magdalena, if you don't mind, another app notification as we get just a few minutes away from the verdict. I'm going to put on our security seal while we're just hanging out with the seal. And we're going to wait until the verdict comes in. It should be in about 10 minutes. They're going to need to get everybody back to court, everybody back into the courtroom, family and friends back into the courtroom. That's just, that's fast. I am going to take a look and see if I can see how quickly that went, because it's got to be just around 3 hours of deliberation. It can't have been more than that. I still don't chat. I don't have I don't know. I don't have words. Emily, that's really fast. It's really fast. I know I have my gut feelings on how fast verdicts go, but that's based on my own experience. I think it was just around 3 hours. I'm going to have to really look at to the clock if this was faster than Murdaugh. It's right around the same time as Murdaugh, just right around the same. It's very, very fast. I imagine that all of the attorneys are nervous because whatever they decided, it did not take them very long. Miss Casey Miller, Emily, did you have time to leave the office? I did leave the office. There were two things I needed to do to check in with family and felines. And then my phone started ringing. And then it was like, they have a verdict. I'm like, I didn't even get an email yet. And then the email came through, and then it came through on social. And then I was like, oh, there's the verdict. And then I hadn't even put up a verdict stream. Normally we do that in the evening so that it would be ready in the morning. No, hadn't done any of it. At least it wasn't verdicts in and then it was just shoom. But I am surprised how fast this came back. It is Murdaugh fast, Adelson fast. So Amelia said, does the judge stick around or are they notified to come back? I imagine it depends on how relatively close or far the judge is. But also, if the attorneys are all pretty close, judges generally stay close because having to drive back is too stressful. Having to drive back to court is really stressful. So will Kouri be in the courtroom? Yes, Kouri will be in the courtroom. The jury, for those of you just coming in, the jury should be read in about 5 minutes. A super, super fast verdict, which means that the jury had seen whatever they needed to see or had not seen whatever they needed to see. And it did not take a lot of time for their deliberations. And that is surprising to me just strike everything I say from the record at the end of the stream that ended 15 minutes ago with me saying, they're going to want to talk. They're going to need time. They're going to need to do the things. Wrong, Emily, all of it wrong. But I am genuinely surprised. Their deliberations were it looks like just under 3 hours. And we don't know if they took a break in deliberations to eat. They got dinner. I guess that's why they wanted to stay. They're just we are close. I'm very surprised. I have seen some fast verdicts, but on murder cases, verdicts this fast always surprise me a little bit. I'm never quite, I don't really anticipate that they will come back quite this quickly. Then again, you only have 8 that need to deliberate, less than 12. Maybe that matters. We did send out a second app notification just in case. I'm surprised. Truly surprised, but I think the jury, I think it tells you that the jury is confident in what they are doing that they didn't need that much discussion, and they all saw things the same way. And we'll wait and find out what that is. Jury should be back, or the verdict should be read in about 4 minutes. So for all of you that are just like nervous, I know it's a weird feeling waiting for other people's verdicts, other people's prosecutions, I guess. OPP in the other way. But you know what we didn't do, chat? You know what we didn't do? We didn't fly to court. I have thoughts about what fast verdicts mean based on my experience, but here's what you can universally say with what fast verdicts mean. It means that the result is obvious to the jury. There was not a lot of deliberation to be had. They saw things the same way. You can see very quick NGs. You can see very quick guilties. It depends on how the evidence comes in, but you can see it both ways. But they were just like, decided. I think we need to fly to Utah, and then we're going to sit here and watch the seal together and see what happens, because they have a verdict. I haven't even processed the closings yet. We got other people's pockets. The shit was out of the elephant or rhinoceros or whatever it was. So much happened in closings. But apparently the jury has decided. They're just done with however this goes. But I imagine that the defense has to be nervous. It is less common that super quick is NG. It absolutely happens. It absolutely does. It's not as common. So I imagine the defense is feeling it. But somebody came into the chat. I don't know if you're asking me seriously, but I'm going to go with asking me seriously. No, the jury has a verdict. No, we would not be here if the jury doesn't have a verdict. Let's fly to Utah. Let me know where you're coming in from and what you're doing now, because I've got a fizzy water and some peanut butter crackers and stunned silence that the jury has a verdict so fast after less than 3 hours of deliberations. All right. They're starting to get those mics turned on. We need to fly to Utah is what we need to do. The verdict should be read in about 2 minutes. They're going to be getting everybody into court. Let's fly. We're getting our miles today. Emily, why are you yelling? I don't know. Because I am still I'm still buffering. I am still just stunned. I didn't even have a chance to get George's cat hair off of me today. I'm surprised. I am surprised. But I heard them getting those microphones ready. So, you know what? I'm going to refresh the feed. Why? I don't know. Habit. Just so fuckery doesn't happen. It makes me feel better. That's why. Why not? What else can we do? Do I think they will be perfectly on time? Not necessarily, but we're here. Court feed is up and live. We're up and live. We should have a verdict read in just a few minutes. So we're going to wait for court. I'm just as surprised as you are, y'all. I am just as surprised as you are. I did not think we would have a verdict this evening. I thought after 45 witnesses and this much time, they would take more time to deliberate. I am very surprised. Maybe the defense knew this would be such a quick verdict, and really they have outsmarted us all with their statement to the press. They knew this is how this was going to go, and so they out-chess matched everybody, and we're just like, this, we need to get out ahead of it. Here's our statement, and then we're going to disappear after the verdict. Maybe they just knew. I don't know. Maybe they just knew. But I keep saying things this trial. I'm like, yeah, they're not gonna. Wrong. Every time wrong. Yeah, this is gonna be a nice normal case. I really like this judge. The attorneys have worked well together. It's just gonna be, it'll be nice to just watch kind of a normal trial. Wrong. It'll just be nice to wrong. Wrong. But I can't just stop talking. I'm a commentator. We just talk. That's what we do. But I did not expect they would have a verdict this fast. I don't know if anybody did. This whole trial has been keep reading. I guess that's what I'm doing tomorrow, is figuring out what our keep reading emoji looks like. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. But I think that the jury paid attention to this whole trial. They heard the evidence come in and they're like, we don't need to rehash all of this. We were paying attention. We saw what we saw. We heard what we heard. For those of you asking, the defense made a statement. They did. They made a statement when the jury went back to deliberate that was shared on social. And I was surprised by that too. A lot of you are asking about what sentencing is. We are a bit cart before the horse, but the defendant faces life without the possibility of parole on the aggravated murder. I haven't looked in depth into the other charges because life without the possibility of parole is on the table for count 1. And we're just waiting for the judge to say we are on the record and read the case number, because that's where we're going with this next. But I am very surprised. So what do they need to do now? They need to bring all the family and friends back to court. They need all the parties there. They need Kouri Richins there. And we are waiting for them to go back on the record, at which they are preparing to do. And they will read the verdict as soon as they are ready. They said 6:20 p.m. I'm sure the judge is stunned. I'm sure the attorneys are also a little bit like, I mean, that's fast. That's fast. I'm sure. But we court indicated that the jury would be, or the verdict would be read at 6:20 p.m. Mountain Time. That is just now. So we are waiting for that. I will reread the defense statement after the verdict comes in. I am not going to cut away to anything while waiting for the verdict, because I'm just waiting, same with all of you, for the verdict. And I'm just going to wait with all of you as this comes in. I'm going to read some of your super chats, and we're going to wait till they go on the record. We are, we have a minute. Look at that. We're on time. Look at us, law nerds. Look at us. We're on time. We're on time. We're here. We are sat. We are prepared. They have not read the verdict yet. Jury has a verdict. It will be read. Miguelina, when the jury comes, or when they call the jury in, will we send out another notification as the court calls the jury in, just in case any of our law nerds didn't see it. Let's see. I'm going to update the pin post. Waiting. Let's see. So the jury has a verdict. We are waiting for it to be read. We are inartfully all just hanging out together. This is much faster than I expected. I'm going to put up a poll on that. Kate said, this is much faster than I thought it would be. Same. Callie Cat said, no way. Same. Kara said they just wanted the promised steak dinner. I think that's fair. If Judge M is like, I'll bet you a steak dinner, I would be like, bet. This verdict speed, let's see, is, we're going to go with what I expected. Faster than expected. I'm surprised. A lot of you are like, no, I thought around 3 hours. Which is fair. So for those of you that haven't gotten through the closing arguments today, I know. The court liaison said that the jury has reached a verdict. I got that at just about 30 minutes ago, just before 7 p.m. local. So just before 6 p.m. Mountain, and that the verdict would be read at 6:20 p.m. local time, which is just a few minutes ago. So they are going to be getting everyone organized and into the courthouse, which might take some time. It could take a minute to get family, friends, lawyers, defendant all into court, especially if they dressed out the defendant into jail clothes instead of street clothes. That's going to take a minute. So we have no Zoom room. I'm here live. I'm not a cat. Away we go. We're just going to wait. Because the jury has a verdict and we're going to sit here and wait for a verdict. But it is so fast. So while you're coming in, do the YouTube things, because we're definitely going to forget to do that later. I ask maybe once every fourth stream at this point. But thank you, Leonard. You know what to do. You know how to YouTube. We know what we're doing. Missy said, FFS, that was fast. It was so fast. And the defense, I would imagine, if I am the defense attorney, I would want to sit down with Kouri and have a little bit of a chitty chat about the verdict coming in. But I imagine that they took diligent notes and they were ready. And by the time they were walking back, juror number 2 is like, I would need to know what the stipulation is. I need to know. A lot of you were still catching up on closing arguments. How long was the start of deliberations? They deliberated for under 3 hours, just under 3 hours. But that is quick. That is really, really, really fast. So for those of you that are like, what? I know. All of you in the chat were like, well, maybe they just took VEG notes. That walk the dog letter, man. For a lot of jurors, that might just be it. It's just, there are certain things like, if it's the truth, why you lying? If it's the truth, why do we need the walk the dog letter? If it's the truth, why are we here? What are we doing? And I imagine that there are things that they need to do, including making sure that the defendant is dressed for verdict, because that is necessary. It is, again, if they dressed her out into jail clothes, I don't think they would have transported her, but if they dressed her out into jail clothes, they would need that. I am looking at Nate Eaton's reporting, who indicates that they are waiting on Eric's father, and that Eric's father is not yet in the courtroom. That was about 3 minutes ago. And that it is very quiet inside court. I'm just looking at Nate Eaton's reporting from inside a court. They were supposed to read the verdict about 7 minutes ago. We're still waiting. But if Eric Richins' father is not yet in court, that is a reason to wait. Nicole in the chat asked, was she ever offered a plea? I did not see any indication that a plea had ever been offered. I don't think one was. There might have been initial conversations, not a formal plea offer, but sometimes prosecutors will be like, is your client looking for anything? My client is looking for insert lesser charge or whatever. Okay, well, we're not going to do that. Anything else? No? Okay, no. So they might have had an informal conversation, but nothing formal. Zuna asked, will Kouri still be at the courthouse? Generally, Kouri would still be at the courthouse till jurors are done deliberating for the day. But depending on what time it was, and if they were thinking they were going to be done deliberating around 7, they might have taken her out of her civilian clothes. However, based on Nate Eaton's reporting, it seems that they were waiting for Eric Richins' father to arrive. And once Eric's father arrived, that seems to be the thing that they were waiting for. It seems that has happened now. So we will see. That was just less than a minute ago that came up, that Eric's father arrived. So that is a reason to wait for everyone to be back in the courtroom. I imagine that no one in the courtroom assumed that this would come back this quickly, because it is fast. It is fast. Just like the chat today. It's going quick. And of course it is. It's going to. I am surprised that we have a verdict this quickly. It caught me off guard. If it also caught you off guard, right? I am surprised. I'm surprised. I don't think I'm going to not be surprised. I'm still surprised. But here we are. Court gave us a little buffer time. And, Eric Richins' father has gotten to court. They're going to get everyone seated, and then they're going to be ready to go. So the verdict, they said, would be read about 10 minutes ago. We're just waiting, which is fine. Miguelina, when they go live on the record, we'll just send out another app notification, because again, once they get live, they're going to have to bring the jury in. But I think it'll be fair to let our law nerds know they have not missed it, because some of these verdicts, we are barely live when they go live. And today we actually had a little bit of time, which is lovely. Look at us, law nerds. We're here. We're on time. We're sat. We're ready. And there's Judge M. All right, Miguelina, they must be going on the record in just a second. So let's let the app Well, let's wait and see. Are they on the record?
We're back on the record in 231.
Let's let the app know.
500139, State of Utah versus Kouri Richins.
Kouri's in between her lawyers.
Counsel for the state and the defendant are present.
All right, let's let the app know.
Is present as well. The court is informed that the jury has reached a verdict. I do not know what it is. We'll invite the jury in a moment.
All right.
When I do, I'll ask the foreperson a simple yes or no question. Have you reached a unanimous verdict? I expect that person will say yes. I'll ask them to hand the verdict to the bailiff, hand it to me. I will read the verdict.
I appreciate that the judge will read it.
Brings me to important instruction number 1.
Do not fuck around.
There can be
no outbursts,
outward reactions whatsoever to the verdict.
Don't Donna
These
up in here.
These folks are here against their will. They, all the lawyers, Ms. Richins, every attendee, my court staff, the bailiffs, everybody deserves your respect.
Yep.
There simply cannot be any outward reactions. You have to keep your hands folded in your lap.
Good for you, Judge.
If you feel overcome with emotion, just look down.
Good for you.
We cannot have any outward reaction.
Oh.
Second, once the verdict is read,
okay,
and the jury is discharged, you need to stay seated.
Let them go.
Follow the deputy's instructions about how we will leave the courtroom in an orderly fashion.
Yeah, let the jury go.
If anybody in here can't follow these instructions,
Get
this
the fuck
is
out.
your chance to leave.
He would never say that. He would never say that.
Fair warning, counsel, Ms. Richins. It is my practice to ask all the lawyers and the defendant to stand in respect for the jury as I read the verdict.
Oh.
I just don't want you to be surprised.
All of them?
Okay. Mr. Bloodworth, are we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms.
Wow.
Lewis.
We are.
All right.
Bring the jury.
Wow, this is fast. I like the way Judge M reminded everyone that they are not to react when a verdict comes in. It's hard. But again, you do not want to try to overwhelm the jury with sympathy, empathy, or try to make them change their mind. You saw how quickly the judge yeeted the jury when Donna came in. I'm sure that Kouri is nervous. That is a quick verdict, and I'm sure that Kouri is incredibly stressed. But they are going to bring the jury, and that is going to be one question to the foreperson, and then the judge reads the verdicts.
Okay.
And that's how they roll. I think it's the most nervous Kouri has looked. That's, appropriate, of course, because of course she is. That was a fast verdict. And I'm not surprised that she's nervous. But it gave us time to get here, so that's helpful for us. We had time to be seated. How you doing, Lonards? When you're the one waiting for the verdict in court, it also feels like you're about to puke. Yep, it does. Jury's walking in. Ramos is sitting behind Kouri. She's in between her lawyers. Doesn't look like she's looking at the lawyers or looking at the jurors. Her lawyers must be. Now she is.
Please have a seat.
Sometimes you can tell by the jury's faces when they come out what their verdict's going to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, would the foreperson you've selected please stand? May I ask you a yes or no question?
That's just my guess.
Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, we have.
Would you please hand the verdict form to the deputy, and you can have a seat. Thank you.
And you heard the foreperson say, yes, we have. I don't know what juror number it is. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the juror that sent out the very organized note. They're going to hand that to the court, and we are going to watch this verdict come in. The microphones are gained up in court. That's why you hear a little bit of that gating. I'm sure Eric's dad also feels like he's going to pass out. This has been very fast. What
All right.
a wild
Counsel, Ms.
turn of
Richins,
events.
Please stand.
And they're going to read the verdict. Remember, there are 5 counts here: aggravated murder, attempted
Count
murder,
1,
insurance fraud.
aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the prosecution has proved the following circumstance or circumstances
These are the
regarding count
aggravators.
1 beyond a reasonable doubt.
These will be the aggravators.
The homicide was committed for pecuniary gain, and the homicide was committed by means of the administration of any substance administered in a lethal amount, dosage, or quantity.
They found both of the aggravators.
Count 2
is attempted.
Attempted aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of attempted aggravated murder.
That's guilty on the attempt.
We, the jury, unanimously agree the prosecution has proved the following circumstance or circumstances regarding count 2 beyond a reasonable doubt.
These will be the aggravators.
The attempted homicide was committed for pecuniary gain. Count 3, insurance fraud. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of insurance
I
fraud.
imagine it'll be guilty across the
Count
board with
4,
this.
insurance fraud. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of insurance fraud. Count 5, forgery. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of forgery. It's signed by the foreperson. Please
All right.
have a seat. Madam Foreperson,
not
is
easy for
this
Kouri.
the verdict that the jury reached unanimously?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you may have a seat. Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor, do you wish the jury to be polled?
Yes, please.
All right.
They're going to pull the
Folks,
jury.
I'll ask you the same yes or no question, one at a time,
interesting to
starting
hear
on
how they
my
answer.
left, working this way. Front row first. If you could show me your lanyard number as I ask you. Juror number 5, is this the verdict you voted in favor of?
Yes.
Juror number 4, is this a verdict you voted in favor of? Juror number 3. I can't see your number, I'm so sorry. The foreperson, I just need to ask you again, I'm sorry. Juror number 2.
Yes, it is.
Juror number 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir. Juror number 8.
Yes.
Juror number 7.
Yes.
Juror number 6.
Yes.
All right. Counsel, is there anything further on this case before the jury is discharged? Mr. Bloodworth.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Lewis.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this trial is now finished. Thank you
Wow, that
for
was
your
fast.
service. The American system of justice relies on your time and your sound judgment, and you have been generous with both. You serve justice by your fair and impartial decision. All of my previous admonitions are now lifted. You
jury
may speak
can
about
talk
this
if they
case
want.
with anyone
don't
or
have
with
to.
no one at all. It is entirely up to you. You might be contacted in the future by the press or by the lawyers. You do not have to talk with them or with anyone else, but you may if you would like.
The law nerds
The
are always
choice
here.
is
My
yours
email's public.
entirely.
I do not seek
I'm
out
now
jurors.
turning to the attorneys
But I will listen.
and instructing them to honor your wishes as officers of the court if you indicate that you do not want to talk about this case. If you do talk about the case, please respect the privacy of your fellow jurors. The confidences they may have shared with you during deliberation
Yeah, don't share
are
that.
not yours to share with others. Thank you, all of you, for your service. Please rise for the jury.
And then the jury is going to be excused. There will be some things that the court needs to handle on the record before court is dismissed. I would imagine Kouri's attorneys had a conversation with her about what this moment might be with how fast this jury came
All right,
back
please have a seat.
and prepared her for that. The audience did a good job in remaining stoic.
Ms. Lewis, we need to
We need dates.
Get a pre-sentence investigation report.
Do you really
And
need
we
one?
need to set sentencing. I imagine, Mr. Bloodworth, that the state would request that that be special set.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they're going to need it.
Ms.
Special set
Lewis,
means they need
does
a
defendant
time.
waive the 45-day limit for sentencing?
Yes, we will.
All right. Let me
How
call
far
my
out are you going to
calendar.
set it then? Special set meaning they need time, and they're going to need like a full day to do impact statements, and they should have a full day to do impact statements. That's appropriate. So they're going to look at days. They're going to do a pre-sentencing report. There are other counts than just count one. Kouri's time in
Should
custody.
we be looking in May, Ms. Lewis?
That's fine.
Dude, not May 8th.
Do you have a sense of it, Mr. Bloodworth? April is not possible.
Not May 8th.
In May, do you have a sense of when would be appropriate?
Your Honor, can I step back and talk to the victim's
Chat.
family?
Sure. Ms. Lewis, if you need a moment
I'm
to confer with them.
teasing, chat. He's asking to talk to the Richins family about what works for them. That's appropriate on a date in May. But there is one count of LWOP and the
Your Honor, any day in May works.
not the 8th, not the 8th. Not the 8th because Banfield sentencing is May 8th.
Without having to move something, which I am, of course, willing to do, I could do it
Shit.
during the
I need to stop
week
saying
of
things out
May
loud.
25
Ooh, that's
or
better. I need to stop saying things
the
out loud.
morning of May 13. But
I like the parody
if
of the
those
first.
times don't work, or if the week of May 25 is too far out, I'll move something to accommodate council schedules. Ms. Lewis, why don't I begin with you?
Either of those days would work for the defense.
Is a morning enough time?
I don't know if a morning will be enough time.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't
We'll
that
set
Eric's birthday?
sentencing
Isn't May
for
13th the victim's
9:30
birthday?
a.m. Wednesday, May 13. We're hereby referring Ms. Richins for the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report.
I think the 13th
Ms.
is the
Lewis,
victim's
anything else
birthday.
on the record today?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Bloodworth.
Which has kind of a
No, Your
wild
Honor.
symmetry.
Ms. Richins, I'll see you again, May 13, 9:30 a.m. I need everyone to stay seated, follow the instructions of the Summit County deputies.
Wow.
The court is in recess. Travel safely.
Okay. That's done and just yeet. And just yeet. I'm gonna stay on this feed and see if anything comes back. Because they just like yeeted the feed immediately. But I might rewind and play the verdict again for anyone just coming in. For anyone just coming in, they have read the verdicts. They have set a sentencing date, which I guess gives away the verdicts, and they have sent sentencing, I think, for the victim's birthday. I'm pretty sure his birthday was May 13th. But we will play that again. I just want to take a look real quick and see if there is anything else we need to take a look at. I don't think that there is because the feed just went completely black. So nothing else happening in court. They are off the record. It does not mean that there will not be interviews. I will keep an eye on other feeds to see if there are any interviews. But a lot of the feeds are no longer live, which is wild. So I will keep a look for that. The Team Baker will keep a look for that. Let's read the defense statement from earlier today that I said was ill-advised, and then we will go back and replay it. That was so fast. It definitely felt so fast, and I'm going to keep an eye out for feeds. Let me go back and grab that statement from the defense. And sentencing, I said, it's just verdict, sentencing. And there you go. So let me go find that real quick. I know that I had it here earlier today and had grabbed it and just completely forgot where I put it. All right, let's go read the defense's statement from earlier today. I still had it pulled up on my other screen. It's been that kind of a day. Also, just a quick warning. If anyone asks what we're doing tomorrow, sleeping. Tomorrow, I am sleeping. We have been streaming for more than 9 hours today. Tomorrow, we are resting, and then we will figure it out. Do not worry. But if anyone asks today, you might. Emily, tomorrow we are resting. This is wild. All right. Let's take a look at the defense's statement. I saw this on Kathy Russin's X. Law Nerds pointed it out. It looks like a typed out statement, so I'm just going to read the typed out statement. This was earlier today while the jury was deliberating, and I was like, that's a choice. I think I also said it feels like they're trying to get ahead of a guilty verdict. They can see the jury, we can't. So that's what it felt like to me when this statement came out. I don't know if I'll still feel that way, but this is the statement from Wendy Lewis, Kathy Nestor, Alex Ramos, attorneys for Kouri Richins. I embiggened it and it made everything a problem, but that's what it says at the very top. After 3 weeks of testimony and closing arguments, this case is finally where it belongs, in the hands of the jury. We are grateful to the jurors for the seriousness and care they have shown throughout this trial. They have listened closely to every witness and every piece of evidence, and we respect the responsibility they now carry. For nearly 3 years, the public has heard accusations about Kouri. Those accusations created a narrative that spread far beyond this courtroom. But in court, accusations are not enough. The law requires proof. After 3 weeks of testimony, the prosecution has failed to prove its case. The standard in this country is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That burden, they say, has not been met. Kouri has maintained her innocence from the very beginning. Over the past several weeks, the jury has had the opportunity to hear the full evidence, not the headlines, not the speculation, but the facts. We believe in the jury system and we trust the process. Kouri should finally be able to go home to her 3 young boys and begin rebuilding her life. That was tweeted at 4:53 Central Time today. So there's that. Because there's that. I think they probably should have waited. I think they should have waited to release a statement. I think they should have waited. But they wanted to release a statement, so they did. And that's what they did. While we wait and see, because we're going to just wait and see if anyone gives any statements outside of court. But while we wait and see, we will go back through the verdict being read. It was read fairly quickly, but we will go back through the verdict being read and go from there while we wait and see if anyone's going to make statements after court. So that was an interesting choice of defense statement earlier in the day, and an interesting choice. The defense, I think, did what they could with difficult facts. I don't think a different closing would have changed it. The jury was not deliberating long enough for me to think a different closing argument from the defense would have changed it. I imagined we're going to see at some point the defense being like, the jury got it wrong. Maybe not. But we will be back in court in May for sentencing in this case. That was a very fast deliberation. The maximum sentence on this case is life without the possibility of parole. I don't think there's any other option on that case. On count 1, there are options on the others. We are going to go back through and watch the verdict for anyone who came in going, what in the heck is happening? To borrow from Ryan Hall, y'all, today's been plumb wild. I don't even know if the cursey words fix it. I think Plum Wild is it. A couple of you are asking about count 2. It's a good question. We will talk about it. Let's go through this again. I think for a lot of the jurors, if they found count 1, they were going to find count 2, just based on all of the factors surrounding count 2 and the follow-up that happened in March, but we can talk about it. I'm sure the Richins family is exhausted. I'm sure Kouri's family is exhausted, because not easy for them either. But again, they came back really quickly. And really quickly. Jen's Brickhouse said, we heard Ryan Hall give you a shout out last night while we were waiting for the tornado that was in our area. Look, I think he does absolutely incredible streaming and an incredible service to everyone. But I had popped into the chat to say hello to chat before my tornado sirens started going off. And then I was wrangling humans and cats into safe spaces. But I find his coverage incredibly helpful and always want to remind my kiddo, look, if you're worried about it, just turn on Ryan Hall, y'all.
3-9, State of Utah versus Kouri Richins.
I went all the way back to the
counsel for the state
beginning,
and the defendant are present. Ms. Richins.
Well, the beginning of the verdict being read. Is this someone's jacket or is this Bryce's pants? I do not love a conspiracy theory. Sometimes I do, but are those Bryce's pants? I'm allowing that one. Did we find them? Emily, it's a murder trial. Too soon. I mean, fair. Fair.
As well.
But also,
the court is informed that the jury has reached a verdict. I do not know what it is. We'll invite the jury in a moment.
I mean, it's probably somebody's codes. But
when I do,
it'd be funnier if they found Bryce's pants.
A simple yes or no question.
That would be funnier.
Have you reached a unanimous verdict? I expect that person will say yes. I'll ask them to hand the verdict to the bailiff.
We're just rewatching the verdict coming in.
I will read the verdict. This brings me to important instruction number 1.
Don't
There can be
react.
No outward reactions whatsoever to the verdict. These folks are here against their will. He's all
talking
the
about
lawyers,
the jurors.
Ms. Richins, every attendee, my court staff, the bailiffs, everybody deserves your respect. There simply cannot be any outward reactions. You have to keep your hands folded in your lap. If you feel overcome with emotion, just look down. We cannot have any outward
I appreciate
reaction.
how measured Judge M is.
Second, once
my only criticism of Judge M is sometimes he's a bit too cautious. He has made any appeal more difficult. There were times he was too cautious, but he is measured. Very, very measured. And I think a consistent judge who is measured and trying to protect the record is what anyone would prefer. Consistent, measured, thoughtful, sometimes I think too cautious, but he is protecting the case on appeal. And that becomes very important at the end of a trial.
the verdict is read and the jury is discharged, you need to stay seated and follow the deputy's instructions about how we will leave the courtroom in an orderly fashion. If anybody in here can't follow these instructions, this is your chance to leave.
Fair.
All right. Fair warning. Counsel, Ms. Richins, it is my practice to ask all the lawyers and the defendant to stand in respect for the jury as I read the verdict. I just don't want you to be surprised. Okay.
Which is also
Mr. Bloodworth, are we
very
ready
considerate.
for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Incredibly
It is-
considerate.
We are.
All right.
He has been a very mindful judge. Emily, are you sending an email? I mean, yeah, we can ask for a statement. Why wouldn't I?
I do not. Do you want me to? I can put out my instant messaging.
The jury is coming in. We are rewatching the verdict being read. We didn't. I wish we had seen I wish they would pan out a little bit to see the attorneys. I want to look at the attorneys. But we are waiting for the jury to walk in on our rewatch of the verdict. Team Baker has been keeping an eye. I imagine the attorneys won't have a statement. I can move closed captioning. I don't know if you're going to see much of Ramos's face. Ramos is trying to breathe. I don't think we will see anyone. Well, Emily, what? I don't know. I didn't think we would see a verdict this fast either. So, but Ramos looks like he's trying to breathe. And we might see statements
Please have
after
a seat as you come
sentencing, not after today, and that's reasonable as well.
Please have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, would the foreperson you've selected please stand? May I ask you a yes or no question? Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, we have.
Would you please hand the verdict form to the deputy, and you can have a seat. Thank you. I'll take that. All right. Counsel, Ms. Richins, please stand. Count 1, aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the prosecution has proved the following circumstance
And these
or
are the
circumstances
aggravators?
regarding count 1 beyond a reasonable doubt. The homicide was committed for pecuniary gain, and the homicide was committed by means of the administration of any substance administered in a lethal amount, dosage, or quantity. Count 2, attempted aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of attempted aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously agree the prosecution has proved the following circumstances regarding count 2 beyond a reasonable doubt. The attempted homicide was committed for pecuniary gain. Count 3, insurance fraud. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of insurance fraud. Count 4, insurance fraud. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of insurance fraud. Count 5, forgery. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of
Very
forgery.
fast in reading
signed by the
the
foreperson.
verdict from the court.
Please have a seat. Madam Foreperson, is this the verdict that the jury reached unanimously?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you may have a seat. Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor, do you wish the jury to be polled?
Yes, please.
All right.
And they have shown
Folks,
both
I'll ask you the
Katie
same yes
and
or no
Amy
question,
Richins.
one at a time, starting on my left, working this way. Front row first. If you could show me your lanyard number as
And they're
I
going to
asked
poll
you.
the jury.
Juror number 5, is this the verdict you voted in favor of?
Yes.
Juror number 4, is this a verdict you voted in favor of? Juror number 3. I can't see your number. I'm so sorry. The 4-person. I just need to ask you again. I'm sorry. Juror number 2.
Yes, it is.
Juror number 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir. Juror number 8.
Yes.
I need to see your badge, please.
Juror number
I need your
7.
number while they poll.
Juror number 6.
Yes.
All right. Counsel, is there anything further on this case before the jury is discharged? Mr. Bloodworth.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Lewis.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this trial is now finished. Thank you for your service. The American system of justice relies on your time and your sound judgment, and you have been generous with both. You
All right,
serve
he's
justice
dismissing
by
the
your
jury.
fair and impartial decision.
I'm going to leave it play, even though
All
we've
of my
watched this.
previous admonitions
I'm gonna
are
let
now
it
lifted.
play.
You may speak about this case with anyone
And
or with
then we
no
will
one
answer
at
some
all.
questions.
It is entirely up to you. You might be contacted in the future by the press or by the lawyers.
dismissing the jury.
You do not have to talk with them or with anyone else, but you may if you would like. The choice is yours entirely. I'm now turning to the attorneys and instructing them to honor your wishes as officers of the court if you indicate that you do not want to talk about this case. If you do talk about the case, please respect the privacy of your fellow jurors. The confidences they may have shared with you during deliberation are not yours to share with others. Thank you, all of you, for your service. Please rise for the
All
jury.
right, and the jury is going out. I have had jurors hug the victim's family. I have seen that in other cases that we have watched as well. I have seen jurors come to the sentencing when they learn about it in the media. I've seen jurors wait to talk to the lawyers after the case, wait to talk to the family
All
members
right,
after the
please have a
case.
seat.
They might not choose to do that in this case around the media, but they can if they want to now. They have the opportunity to wait and talk to anyone that they want to. They might not want to do it tonight, but they might.
Ms. Lewis, we need to
And now they've got
get
to
a pre-sentence investigation report.
do all the time.
And we need to set sentencing. I imagine, Mr. Bloodworth, that the state would request that that be special set.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Lewis, does defendant waive the 45-day limit for sentencing?
Yes, we will.
All right.
All
Let
right.
me call up my calendar.
And the judges live and breathe by their calendars. So we will see. They're focused on the defendant's mom, and as I say with the victim's family too, I wish they would focus on the parties more than
Should we be
the
looking in May, Ms. Lewis?
families.
That's fine.
And the attorneys are just like, all right,
Too
what
sensitive,
date
Mr.
now?
Bloodworth. April is not.
I'm going to let this play, and then we will go to questions.
In May,
They're going to
you
need to
have a
do the
sense of
PSR.
when would be appropriate.
Your Honor, can I step back and
Ask the
talk
family,
to the victim's family?
Sure.
Which
And
is
Ms. Lewis, if you need a
appropriate
moment
and
for
fair.
anyone.
Yeah, a number of you are like, what are those jail calls with Kouri going to be like tonight? Well, probably like some of what you saw in Adelson, right? Idiots everywhere, I imagine.
Your Honor, any day in May works.
Without having to move something, which I am, of course, willing to do, I could do it during the week of May 25 or the morning of May 13. But if those times don't work, or if the week of May 25 is too far out, I'll move something to accommodate council schedules. Ms. Lewis,
And they're
why
going
don't
to
I
pick
begin with
dates.
you?
Either of those days would work for the defense.
I'm going to just let this play, and then we will
Is
answer
have
some
it-
questions.
Is the morning enough time?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, they're going to do half a day
We'll
of
set
sentencing.
sentencing for 9:30 a.m. Wednesday, May 13. We're hereby referring Ms. Richins for the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report. Ms. Lewis, anything else on the record today?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Mr. Bloodworth.
No, Your Honor.
Nothing else on
Ms.
the record
Richins,
today?
I'll see you again, May 13.
She won't look at the judge
9:30
either.
a.m.
I imagine she's
I need
stunned.
everyone to stay seated, follow the instructions of the Summit County deputies. The court is in recess. Travel safely.
And that's it. All right, we rewatched the verdict come in. That is the verdict. There is a one and only sentence on count one. That is life without the possibility of parole. You heard the jury find both aggravators or circumstances, or in some jurisdictions, special circumstances, the murder essentially by poisoning and the pecuniary gain. And the fact that the jury came back with a verdict in, what was that, less than 3 hours, when they notified that they had a verdict, it took a little while to get everyone in the courtroom and read it, but the jury was done deliberating and filling out the verdict forms by that point. And you heard the jury get polled. Every single juror sounded settled in their verdict. But this is not the end of criminal cases for Kouri Richins, though it might be. After these convictions, she is facing a 26-count case with regard to the financial crimes. She was indicted on that, or charged with that, in June, I think, of 2025. And that covers the best friend's house, other areas of mortgage fraud, other types of finance fraud, money laundering, and more. So there is still a very substantial financial criminal case that is out there pending. So even as this case, she gets sentenced and it goes forward, she's not going to go to prison right away, because they're going to have to figure out what to do with her financial case. And when the defense team came onto the financial case in this case, they said they did not think that they would be staying on that financial case, that is not their team's, that is not their area of practice. That is not their focus. So she's going to probably also end up with new attorneys on the financial crimes case, though in that case, I would not be surprised if they looked for some kind of plea deal, given that the sentencing on count one is LWOP, though of course there will be appeals on that. The timing on that should start, I think, after sentencing. And then we will see the sentencing on the other case, on the other charges, and then getting into the financial fraud case. I am very surprised with how quickly this jury came back. But again, when they feel like they've heard what they need to they heard what they need to heard when they heard what they needed to hear, it does not surprise me that they come back incredibly quick. And it does not surprise me that across the board, they were just like, done. This will impact the civil case. I will keep an eye on that, because of course, her getting convicted of murdering Eric Richins changes what she can go after with regard to the civil case with the trust. If I tried to explain that artfully today after like 10 hours of streaming, I will do it badly. We will have plenty of time to do that another day. Today is not the day. Will it impact the civil case? Yes. Will some of this impact the other financial case? Yeah, I would imagine new defense attorneys will be like, can we get a plea deal on that? Yeah, I imagine they will. I don't know if that will go to trial, but they're going to have to set some dates on that after sentencing. They're not going to do any of that prior to sentencing. We are going to take a look and see if there are any other statements. It does not look like the attorneys have decided to give a statement this evening, or any of the attorneys have. Of course, we will reach out and ask if the prosecution has any statements. The defense made a statement on Twitter. I don't know if they'll make any other statements. It seems that none of the attorneys gave interviews after court today, which I guess the defense kind of got out ahead of it. And then after sentencing, we might see statements. I would not be surprised if the attorneys chose to not give any statements until after sentencing was just done. I think that the prosecution kind of made all the statements they needed to make during their closing arguments, don't you? Like, we heard, is anyone confused about what the prosecution thinks of this case? And the defense, for that matter. I think we heard a lot of what they have said. So we will take a look and see if there are any interviews. I will hop over to that. A number of you have indicated that there are. Team Baker has indicated that there are. So we'll go take a look. I hate just grabbing someone else's stream, but we will go grab a quick look over at East Idaho News. Nate Eaton was just in the courtroom. So we'll go look and see if anyone he was talking to anybody. We'll go take a look and keep moving from there. But also that would be coming directly from East Idaho News. Let's see. I don't want to grab all of the stream, but I will go look real quick and see if he has, if he is speaking with anybody, because it looks like he did. And then we'll go from there. So let's go take a look. You know, every time I'm like, yeah, we're done for the night. No, we're not. No, we're not. I am still buffering. I am so surprised. I know a lot of you are going to be like, EDB, what do we do tomorrow? Let's sleep and catch up on emails. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. And then we will go from there. But I will keep an eye. Of course, media will be asking for more interviews of individuals. I think the media will probably be looking for interviews with family members. We'll see if there's any other interviews. Let's take a look real quick at the interview Nate Eaton had. And do I know who he spoke to? No. Does it look like there's an impromptu media scrum in the parking lot? Yes, it does. So we're going to go take a look at that, and then we'll go from there. But what a wild and unprecedented case. It's a lot. But we'll take a look and see if we...
Are you getting pizza? You want to come out and do a quick interview?
What are we talking about with pizza? Oh, this is at the back of a... They weren't joking when they said in the corner of a parking lot. They weren't joking when they said the corner of a parking lot. This is literally the corner of a parking lot. Okay. Well, that's
I'm just
tough.
relieved. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Tell me about that.
Well, I'm feeling relieved.
I mean, that's tough.
Justice is served. Yep. Justice.
Was
I
it?
don't really know what to do.
What's the last 4 years been like? I mean, as far as waiting for this moment.
I do not know who
Hard and difficult.
this is
Emotional.
from the family.
Yep. We're definitely relieved.
Were you surprised the jury came back so quick with the verdict?
I mean, it's
We weren't prepared for
it's really tough with the whiplash of emotions to just be like, how are you feeling? This is why I can't be a reporter.
to be that quick, but
That's why I couldn't.
surprised a little.
When it came back that quick, did you think, okay, this is probably a guilty verdict because it came back so quick? Or did it give you any...
I mean,
any
normies don't always know that, though.
No, I was just as nervous.
We've always been positive.
Yeah, people don't know because it could be either.
We just tried to stay together and let justice prevail. So,
Do you feel like you can start healing more now that this is concluded?
Yep.
The unknowns are hard.
Where do you go from here?
About the new normal.
just tried to stay together.
What are you hoping for justice?
Prevail.
Do you feel like you can start healing more now that this is concluded?
Everybody
So
can.
I think that justice will prevail with that as well.
Where do you go from here?
Figure out the new normal.
We're just like,
I do not get the sense that they want to talk much more. Truly,
Hoping to have some court on sentencing.
They
Let the courts figure that out.
they're
Say,
all I heard them say was when they were asked about sentencing, we'll let the court figure it out.
prevail with that as well.
There are 3 little boys
And there's
at the heart of this. Do you have
un-
any information?
I mean, my biggest takeaway is that the view around the courthouse is lovely. But
Just love. They have a lot of love surrounding them. They're great boys, and they're gonna.
you can hear them talking about the Eric Richins' sons being surrounded by a loving family. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. And
Obviously, we're all here for this murder trial, but how would you want Eric to be remembered?
and then you can hear other reporters asking questions. Gorgeous scenery. Gorgeous scenery. They do not seem to want to talk much more. The rest of this looks like Nate's reporting, so I'm going to let him just do his reporting. If you want to check that out on East Idaho News, you can. Beautiful view around the courthouse. They really don't seem like they want to talk much more. They didn't seem to want to talk, but they're like, if this is such, what did you think this was going to be with such a fast verdict? Not everyone pays attention to courts and cases nearly as much, or works within courts and cases to even have a perception of what a quick verdict is. I imagine that when they heard there was a verdict, they felt scared and unsure, because that is the end. So I don't blame them. It doesn't look like there are, from what I can tell, any other interviews with family members. If they choose to speak at another time, we will take a look. If any of the attorneys choose to speak, we will take a look. I don't think they will tonight. If any of the other family members choose to be interviewed, we will take a look. But there's not much else there. And if they don't want to talk, well, then they don't want to talk. But it looked absolutely beautiful. Recovery Act, good to see you in the chat. My brain is buffering. You have to come visit Utah Snow-Capped Mountains, Sandstone Arches, Mountain Lakes, and Desert Vistas. You get it all in Utah. Utah is beautiful. When my oldest was, I think it was 4th grade, that we did the national parks, it was incredible. But the view from that courthouse looked beautiful from just the panning around that we saw. Utah's gorgeous. So if we see any other interviews, we will go take a look. I'm sure if there were any that Recovery Addict probably found them on his stream. He was also running a great feed for this trial, and for courts had, I think, less tech difficulties than we did. Running a feed is a lot, but if there are interviews, we can also find them and go over them a different day. Today has been a lot of emotions. Craft Addict Wendy asked, what's the timeline for appeal filing? Normally 30 days from when it's final, which generally involves sentencing. So I would imagine 30 to 45 days from sentencing. The boys would not be required to. Webs of Deceit Untangled asked, Emily, will the boys be required to visit her in prison? They will not be required to. And as they get older, they will be allowed to make that choice, but they will not be required. They don't make the kids unless there are some rules that are unusual to me. Also, remember, Utah has some different ways of sentencing, but it doesn't really factor in this case because it's a life without the possibility of parole. So there's not really much that can be done with that. It's an LWOP case on count 1. There will be other sentences, of course, that are done, and there's another case that's following it, but the LWOP is what it is. There's LWOP is LWOP. That's it, unless the laws of the state change. However, the jury found her guilty of both special circumstances, which is what we called them in California. They were aggravating factors for the aggravated murder, but they found both special circumstances. So even if one special circumstance is changed by the law, there is still the other one. And I don't think I've ever seen them change special circumstance by pecuniary gain. It just is what it is. And that is an aggravating factor in most jurisdictions. It would be hard pressed for me to find one that isn't a special circ. So Lisa said, Kouri, idiots everywhere. I'm sure that she feels that way. Defendants some have a very hard time taking responsibility for what's happened in a case. And I think that Bloodworth had clocked that correctly. That was my read of it, but that is my read of it. I'm still very surprised that this verdict came so fast. Really am. It really surprised. So let's answer some questions. And that wasn't very long of a verdict watch, was it? That was just like done. Y'all, I don't know. I have thrown my camera out of focus. I'm so surprised. I'm still surprised. So, Spotted Dog Mom asked, will the financial fraud case be resolved? The civil cases will probably be easier to resolve now. The financial fraud case could resolve, but I don't know if Kouri's going to want to plead guilty. And I don't see the prosecution dropping anything. Would you? You'd be like, nah, man, we're not. They've got, 26 more counts? And they're going to want to make sure that there is restitution in the fraud cases as well, including to Chelsea Barney. I do not know what Idaho's rules are about if Kouri ever writes a book or sells her story or, licenses out family photos or whatever it is. Though I imagine that would have to go through court if she tried to license out anything with the kids or Eric's image in it. But beside the point, they would want to make sure there was restitution on the record in case restitution or in case she was able to make money and those funds would be diverted, which is how it happens. Did I say Idaho? I was thinking Coburger. I told you it's been a long day. But in case she is ever makes any money off of doing anything or money that goes into her books, it can go to restitution. Most areas have rules in place that money can go to restitution first and is able to go to restitution first. So that is something that they would want to know and take a look at. So I can't, if she doesn't want to plead guilty, I imagine they would just go to trial on it. I mean, I can't imagine this prosecution team being like, nah, we're not going to do it. I think they would just be like, yeah, okay, you want to go to trial again? We'll go to trial again. Sure. Let's go to trial again. Why not? Why not go to trial again? Andrology said, I thought for sure they would sleep on it. I did too. Regardless of the decision, that's a lot of paperwork to fill out. I thought they would too. The judge said, I'll bet you a steak dinner. And they said, bet. I don't know what they brought them for dinner. Bet, let's do dinner. And there we go. But they're done after 3 weeks of trial and closing arguments all day. They were clearly done. I'm very, very surprised they came back so quickly. I'm not surprised with their verdict. A lot of you have questions about the verdict. I will let you know what I think, and I will probably have more thoughts in the days to come. But they stayed to deliberate late. I thought they would have more to talk about. I'll be curious to see if any of the jurors speak to local media in the days to come. But I think it's clear that they were convinced with a verdict that fast. So a lot of you didn't even finish watching closing arguments on the replay crew. Stephanie asked, was this quicker than Murdaugh? It was close. It might have been, but if it was just moments. I mean, for Murdaugh, I was driving home from my kids' band practice. Remember that. So I was live close in time, but not exactly. This one, at least we were live in time for the verdict to come in. I was on a jury that lasted 3 days. We took 3 hours to deliberate. Wow, this is fast. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's fast, but they clearly were comfortable in the evidence and how they saw this case. T. Robertson said, I think the dog was walked too close to the sun. The walk the dog letter can't be underestimated in this case. The defendant's words and the things that the defendants say are given so much weight by a jury. And so the defendant's writings are going to be given quite a lot of weight by the jury. I do not know if this is faster than Sarah Boone. I don't remember how long Sarah Boone was. Adelson was quick too. We've seen some quick quick response, quick verdicts. This one is quick. Is it too fast? Is there such a thing as too fast? Well, in Murdaugh, it's part of the appeal that it was too fast. I don't think legally there is anything that would be too fast, but in Murdaugh, Courthouse Becky rolling up with today's an epic day is part of it. So there's a lot of digital evidence in this case that was pretty damning, including Googling, if somebody's poisoned, what does it go down on your death certificate at? And then you've got friends testifying that Eric was saying, Kouri tried to poison me. And then you've got the statements that were kept out by the court of the best friends, but the best friends talking about how Eric was scared, what Eric's demeanor was like when they were on the phone with him on Valentine's Day. And then you get the friend filling in the gaps saying, oh, well, Kouri was like, no, that's not what happened. It's not that deep. But you see that you have the pieces of the puzzle to put together that on Valentine's Day, it wasn't haha jokes, though that's what Allie Staking said, that they were just haha jokes. Well, is it haha jokes or is it, Kouri tried to poison me? And Kouri's like, no, it wasn't that deep. He didn't even need an EpiPen. No, it wasn't like that at all. Well, the context of what Eric's closest friends said gives context to that. Because on Valentine's Day, Eric didn't sound like he was joking. The prosecutor was one step away from saying he was deadly serious. And so the prosecutor didn't seem to be joking. However, it does look like Amy is being interviewed. So I will zoom and we will go to that. And again, if there are interviews that we missed tonight, we will pull them up at another day. No worries. We will. All right. It does look like Amy was talking because everybody's just chilling in the parking lot. Is talking in the parking lot. So
4 years ago, our family lost the brightest light. Eric is deeply loved and missed every single day.
I hate it when courthouses don't just put up an array of microphones. Emily, you're not in charge. I know, just put up an array of microphones and make it easy for everyone. But it sounds like the family has a prepared statement. So we'll take a look at that now.
4 years ago, our family lost the brightest light.
Sorry, Chad.
Eric is deeply loved and
the
missed
feed I
every
saw.
single day. We are grateful to everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring justice for Eric. Our focus is now on honoring Eric's life.
Emily, is all of this the reason that you don't cover things when they're breaking? Because you would like to find them that are neater and cleaner? Yes, but it just is what it is.
Supporting his voice as we all continue to heal. Okay. Thank you all for being here.
And that was
4 years ago, our family lost the brightest light.
I have no idea where that playback is coming from.
Eric is deeply loved and missed every single day.
I have no
We
idea.
are grateful to everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring justice
I have no idea why there's audio loop.
for Eric. So just very happy focus is now on honoring Eric's life.
It sounds like somebody is transcribing her statement that was just given.
And supporting his voice
But-
as we all continue to heal. This is the amazing man and father he was. So I know we'll be coming out more later, probably after sentencing, and we'll
Satisfied? Is there justice served?
honestly, I feel like we're all
All right. I cannot hear it all. So I cannot hear at all. That is a weird loop. I will look for interviews with the family and share them as we see them instead of the scrum of outside the courthouse and see what we see. But that was an odd loop. I'm going to keep answering your questions. We will see the rest of the, I'm sure there will be other interviews and we will find them. But at the moment, that was the only feed that I saw, and I will grab them in the days to come and we'll take a look when they're a little bit cleaner. But again, am I surprised that the family statement is we're thankful and we'll have more to say at sentencing? No, I'm not surprised. And that's what, a month away, 2 months away. I'm going to answer some more of your questions, and then I am going to eat some dinner because we barely got any lunch today, and I am going to eat some dinner. It's 8:30 my time. It has been a very long day, and it has been a lot. Rob, thank you for the gift of memberships. Vicky asked, do we know who will raise her boys? Eric's family has the kids. I am not going to speculate onto which members of Eric's family. I think that's all private through the family law court. There is family law court involved, but Eric's family has the boys, and I'm going to leave it at that. Magic Mary, thank you for grabbing the Utah statute, because I do think restitution will be a big part of what the state is looking for, not just in this case, but in the following financial crimes case. Yes, I will cover the following financial crimes case. Yes, it will take a while for that to go forward, because I think we're going to end up with new jurors. Kelsey asks, who tells the boys? I don't know if they can escape this at this point, because it is incredibly public, but I would imagine that the family has to have a conversation about how they do that, or if they wait, but it's really up to them. And again, kids are perceptive, so they're going to know something's up. And then they just have to navigate that knowing the kids. Can you link the stream where you covered the financial crimes? It's in our playlist. I will see if we can pull it out, but it is in our playlist. I called it something like new charges, new indictment, new something. It was from June, I believe, right around there. So it is interesting to me that they are sentencing on Eric's birthday. I'm sure no one in the courtroom thought of that at the moment, other than his family, perhaps. Jamie McGee asked, did the investigator make a difference? I think the investigator absolutely made a difference and was much easier to follow than the lead detective. But I think the private investigator made a huge difference. Absolutely. And testified great, all things considered, because had just had surgery. This whole case has been so wild to me. All of it has been wild. And for to like spinal fusion and then have to go testify and then be testifying in a neck brace while being cross-examined, wild to me. Absolutely wild. Wild. Let's see. Dark Squall said, English viewer here, was headed to bed, came to check on channel, did not expect to be back that quick. Thank you for all you do, Emily and Lawnards. I am so sorry about how late it is across the pond. I apologize. It's wild. The elephant poop silhouette to replace the rain trope. I mean, the shit's out of the beast at that point and on the wall. Look, it was a cheeky response to the defense using the imagery they used in opening. I've never seen defense use imagery like that in opening before. I'm not surprised it came back around. I am surprised that the prosecution did not call out, don't eat what Kouri gave you. It might have been a little heavy-handed. And yes, I think friend was trying to say like, just jokes, but also don't eat what Kouri gave you, man. Don't eat what Kouri gave you. I also think the PI kind of loved like sticking it to the cops and just being like, these cops can't get it right. I do think the PI enjoyed that a little bit. And we saw some of that in cross-examination. So Luciana said, baby, I love you. Well, we've got 2 baby, I love you sentencings. We're going to have 2 baby, I love you sentencings. May is going to have some sentencing to do. For sure. Erica said prosecution set her straight on her writing skills. I mean, she's not going to like that at all. There's no way she was happy with that. That shit's going to piss her off. And she still has pending cases, which means they're going to hear her jail calls because she still has pending cases. So even when they talked about they're still investigating this case, she has a pending case that has 26 counts. There's a pending case. Yeah, there's a pending case. So They're going to hear the jail calls after this. And I imagine that she's not going to be happy with the things that the prosecution said in closing, and they still have to deal with the prosecution. And for all of you just checking back into this case, we will cover the financial crimes case again. We'll cover it with a fresh set of eyes after going through this trial down the road. I think that's fair. Are we going to do that now? No. You can. Emily's brain's already buffering. No, we're not. Audrey says, who has to pay back all of her debts? Well, there's restitution, and they can't. I mean, I guess they could try to civilly sue her, but there's restitution. But no, all of her debts aren't going to get paid, and a lot of companies that took a bet on her are going to be stuck with some of those. Though the houses did get foreclosed on, that's going to clear up some of those debts. The debts back to the estate, money she took from Eric's estate, they probably won't get back. And the money taken by Bestie or from Bestie, Bestie's probably not going to get back. It's unlikely that Bestie will get back life savings. It's unlikely that her kids will get back the money she stole from the estate. Those are unlikely. Kim said, this one hit me hard. I had to call a squad for my husband a few months ago when he collapsed at home. As a trained responder, I was still panicky and yelling with 911. Eric deserved better. It's hard to listen to, especially if you have had the experience of having to call 911 for someone. And Lewis pulling that onto herself and saying that she was widowed around the same age was a wild choice. Especially if she was looking at this jury and this jury was like, nah, I'm out. Nah, I'm out. It's a wild, wild choice. But I hope that for Eric's family, they are able to feel like they can begin to close a chapter, because at least now they can put words around what they've experienced and talk about that in their impact statements and know that they're allowed to talk about it with their impact statements. And this is never going to leave them, but hopefully as to Kouri, they can kind of close the chapter on her and not have that in their mind. But with something so public, it's hard, because in a small community, when people see you, it's hard for people not to look at you and sorrowfully. And I hope their community surrounds them with support. Sally asked, can the speed of a verdict's return be used in her appeal? Not really. Is that something that can be considered for potential bias? The only time I've ever seen speed of how quickly a jury came back come into play was like in a Murdaugh situation where there is allegations of impropriety from an outside source saying, look, this jury was somehow tampered with. I don't think we will see that here. So I am going to try to answer some more questions. As you can tell, I'm still stunned. I'm still surprised it came back this quick. I am happy that Kouri maintained composed during verdict. I am wondering if she's second guessing not testifying. I imagine that she would be. I don't know if her attorneys are just moving on to the next, or if they're going to talk with her this evening. I don't know. But it is just a wild evening. I am so surprised. I don't think the jury took a straw vote, but they did not talk for a very long time. They sure didn't. And I hope they had a good dinner. So Meg said, chilling in my gray laundered hoodie here in Australia, waiting for this verdict. Most comfortable thing I put on my body. You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was going to wash mine this weekend so I could wear them this week. I thought we would still be on Verdict Watch. We're going to have to be on Verdict Decompression in a day, not tomorrow, probably on Wednesday. Samantha said, never woken up from a nap to the sound of an app notification in my life. Yeah, I'm surprised. We are also still working on if we can get custom app sounds. It's something that we're very much considering. We haven't been able to figure out how to do it yet. But if we can figure it out, we will. But it was so fast. Melanie said, I bet Kouri is freaking out. I'm sure she was probably crying as they were getting ready to bring her out. I'm sure she was, because I imagine her lawyers said this fast is most likely not good. Like, not good at all. For those of you that didn't finish closing, I would go back and watch them. I think that the closing arguments were good. I would go back and watch them. Duana said, no, Dawn, my brain has stopped. Montoya 897. I apologize for all of the wrong pronunciations. Me and my bestie were not prepared for it today. Same. My brain has just stopped. Same. They didn't lose a single juror. They came back in like 3 hours, still buffering. And I'm sure that that's why it took everyone a moment to get back to the courthouse, because they probably weren't anticipating that either. I'm sure Judge M is exhausted from this trial. It's me. It's me. 42 months of verdicts here. Thank you, EDB, for your dedication and education. You're welcome. I don't know if I have much to offer today other than also buffering, but it was wild. Let's see. Just another ADHD. That's funny. Just another ADHD witch. Question, was there even enough time for them to have received all of the evidence and jury slips? I don't know. Also, my young Lawner Jameson says, hi, Jameson. They would have gotten the verdict slips because they filled them out. I don't think they would have gone through a lot of the evidence. They saw it. They didn't want to read more of it. They were like, nah, we get it. They clocked it, which has to do with the tech, the phone calls, the walk the dog letter, her recorded call with the coroner, her recorded call with Bryce. If I was going to kill him, I would have done it 2 years ago. Okay, ma'am. Okay. I mean, that call was a week and a half after Eric's death. And you're joking about if you would have killed him, you would have done it sooner and with a gun. That's hard. That's hard. DK said, do you remember what led you to this case in the first place? We lived in this case for 4 years. I've loved all your coverage. Writing the book, the children's book about grief. I was like, you, what now? You did what now? You got arrested over a year after he died and you wrote a children's book about grief? And then we watched the bond hearing. And then we learned about her throat punching her sister-in-law. And I was like, what? Yeah. We still didn't hear about her looking at going to have cosmetic surgery in Mexico. That didn't come in. It was argued in pretrial motions. We didn't hear any about that in trial. I imagine it would have come out during rebuttal if there had been a rebuttal, but there was no rebuttal. No rebuttal needed. And again, I think the prosecution clocked this jury correctly. The prosecution went through the highlights of the evidence as they saw it in their closing and tied it back. And in tying it back, we're just like, this is what it is. This is what it is. And I think that tied it together. A lot of you are like, I don't know about count 2. I understand. But I think for me, the explanation about getting sick from opioids, remember, the jury could believe that she was trying to buy opioids and he got sick from opioids on Valentine's Day and she asked for something stronger and then got something stronger. But if you believe that Eric got sick on Valentine's Day and that Kouri left him a sandwich and that she bought something from Carbon Lobber before and then she asked for something stronger afterwards and then he died, those things tie together. And so if they believe that she bought things from Carbon Lobber to kill him in March, it's not hard for me to work backwards to, well, why did she need something stronger? What was she asking Carbon Lobber for? Why was the other transaction? Did he have an allergic reaction? Why is her friend joking, don't eat what Kouri gave you? Why is Eric Richins saying, Kouri tried to kill me? And Corey's like, oh, don't be dramatic. It's not like that. When Eric Richins was completely serious in talking to his friends. Then again, I know what he said to his friends from pretrial motions. So it's also hard for me to unwind what I know from what he said to his friends from pretrial motions. It's hard for me to unwind those things. The judge didn't allow them in. The jury didn't hear those things. But I think the jury can take a look at all of the circumstances and the way that Eric communicated to his friends. And then the fact that they were joking about Kouri trying to poison him after he had been so serious with his friends on the phone in a way that they had rarely heard him before or not heard him be before, and connect those things together. And then Kouri's response is, why don't you take a nap? Instead of, wait, really? You feel like you need to go to the hospital? You're supposed to pick up the kids. I will be there ASAP. You feel badly enough that you think you need to go to the hospital? I will be right there. And instead, it's delay. And Eric's finally like, thank you for finally answering. And she's out with her lover because she needed someone to be with him. She needed someone to be with her as an alibi. And then she was going to get home and be like, oh my God, I just found my husband. I don't understand. He said he wasn't feeling well. I'm shocked. They called me because nobody picked up the kids. What was she expecting to happen? But if you think that your partner, your spouse, your person, your friend, if you think that they are like, oh, I think I might need to go to the hospital sick, aren't you trying to get your ass back to where they are and are like, no, don't drive. If you don't feel that well, do not drive our children around. If you're not feeling that bad, do not drive our kids. Stay where you're at. I'm coming. Yeah, no, I see how they got there. But then again, I know what he said to the friends. So, but not coming back home. The timing there is tough. Carol said, do you think if the defense would have put on a case, it would have been a different outcome? Unlikely. I don't know what they would have put on for a defense. Are they going to put on the brother to say what's in the walk the dog letter and then play more jail calls? What are they going to put on? I don't think Kouri was going to make it better. We heard the 911 call. There were a lot of police interviews they didn't play. The digital evidence is hard to overcome. And I don't think Kouri testifying was going to make that better. I don't think bringing Ronnie in, unless they did have texts with Ronnie, if Ronnie legitimately had those conversations with Eric, the defense could have brought them in with the tech expert because they would have been on Eric's phone. They had Eric's phone. The defense could have brought them in with the tech expert on cross-examination without bringing in Ronnie if those were true and they existed. If Eric had sent the memes to Kouri, they would have brought it in with the tech expert because it would have been in Eric's phone. It wasn't in Eric's phone. So there's stuff they could have done if that had been the case, but there just wasn't much there. They could have gone through the tech expert more. But if the stuff that Ronnie would have testified to would have been true, it would have been in Eric's phone. It would have come up on cross. So I don't know what they could have brought in. I mean, I guess you could have brought in a medical expert to talk about the fact that Eric's reaction was not a reaction to opioids, or you just back away from it and point at it and say that doesn't make any sense. And the reason he doesn't have an EpiPen is because he used it. Because then at closing, the defense is like, yeah, they used the EpiPen. The affair stuff would have become much more apparent if the defense had put on a case and that wouldn't have come out. And in closing, they're like, multiple affairs. Ma'am, really? There's no evidence of that. So, Creek Native Girl said, doesn't she still have a financial case after this? Yes, she does. Jolene said, we just need Judge M to say, get in the car, Elizabeth. I know. I feel like we got close a couple times. But we didn't. I just don't know where we would have gotten to. Miss Lindsay said, I've seen a couple closings. That 6.5 minutes broke me during close. It was a really good close. I think the prosecution used the evidence they had well. They made connections to the evidence that were good connections. I think they made logical arguments. To me, it did not feel like a reach. There were times that the defense pointed out things that made sense, and then times that were such a reach that it was really difficult. Sewing Barbie said, I think the estate should give the best friend her money back. The estate doesn't have the best friend's money because it went to Kouri's lenders. The estate is still owed money by Kouri. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I hate what happened to everyone that got caught in Kouri's wake, but the estate benefits her kids who are growing up without their parents. I imagine Bestie probably wouldn't want that, but it's the lenders that got that money because she diverted it to pay her lenders. And there's still hundreds of thousands of dollars missing from the estate. I wish someone would make the Bestie whole. I wish that someone would be Kouri. I think Kouri should make everyone whole. I don't think Kouri's going to have the ability to do that. But it would be nice. It's also why the estate is also going after Kouri's mom because of the money that was diverted to Kouri's mom. But I wish Kouri would make Bestie whole. I do. 100%. I'm with you on this forever. Zenial said, I still wonder about Josh's hush puppy. Yeah, I have a lot of questions about that too. I think it was smart that nobody touched it during closing. They just left it alone. But I really want to know what the hush puppy thing was too. I got questions. Marianne asked, do you think the defense not putting forward a case will be a matter for ineffective assistance of counsel? No, I don't. I did not always vibe. Emily, that's an understatement. I did not always vibe with the way the defense put forward their case. But whether you vibe with how the defense put forward their case or not, the defense was strategic, thorough. They didn't let anything go. They didn't miss opportunities to raise an issue, to memorialize an objection. They pushed on their objections and continued to push. And the judge is like, you don't need to keep doing it. And continued to push and continued to push. They tried a case and they made strategic choices. I don't agree with all the strategic choices, but they were strategic. They were tireless in pushing back on the judge's rulings multiple times. So no, I don't think choosing not to call witnesses is going to be an issue. They will raise issues of the judge's rulings. They will raise issues about what came in about the finances. They will raise issues about the walk the dog letter. They will raise all those issues. They will raise the things they preserve for appeal. But them not calling witnesses is a strategic choice and a sound one, especially when you look at what witnesses they might have had. I don't think they had a lot. So they did not have good facts. And that walk the dog letter was real tough for them. Real tough. But we still don't know why Bryce took off his pants. I don't know. And we don't know why the friend staking that was like, do you remember Bryce taking off the pants? And she's like, I don't know. I mean, he probably did. Like, what else happened that night? There's so much more there. And I don't know what else happened. Shenanigans going on. Did she ever go on the vacation? Don't remember hearing about that. Did not go on the vacation. It came up with the boyfriend, and I don't think she ever finished paying for the vacation. The defense talked about it. Yeah, so I don't, she didn't go on the vacation. Boyfriend testified to that. Defense said it wasn't finished being paid for. I don't know if it was or if it wasn't. Kel Marie said the mic drop for me was when Bloodworth pointed out the beginning of the incident for Kouri Richins was the drinks. So telling. It was a good connection. It was a really good connection. And I hadn't thought about it either. But we hadn't seen, it was entered into evidence, but we had not seen the incident report. That was saved till closing. And the incident report wasn't at this time in the morning. I walked into the bedroom, climbed into the bed, and found my husband. It was very, very telling. Very, very telling. And I think it was a great connection. And I'm not surprised by it. I think it was a great connection because it was also oh shit. She did do that. Damn. Because her story was playing out in her head because she needed to explain. We had drinks. I went with the kids. He went to bed. We had drinks. I went with the kids. We went to like she had her story in her head. And then she had her plan going forward. I'm going to run the business. We're going to sell the house. We're going to do this. And she kept talking about wanting her house where her kids grew up. But then she was telling her sister-in-law, oh, I'm going to sell the house. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. But why are you on the phone with Bryce with no pants going, it's my house. It's my house. She was just spinning on that. But that's how a planned story works, isn't it? People who are going through stress are more disoriented. She had a recited story that she was going through. And it would have made a lot more sense. Well, there are a lot of things that would have made a lot more sense. But I also think Kouri didn't know. And Kouri thought she was going to be smart. Amber said, I started this case not really caring for Bloodworth, but his knowledge, his clarity, and mostly his calm, dispassionate attitude is what won me over. It was kind of G style. The calm, just calm delivery of everything. It is hard not to get caught in the swirl of especially a defense that's like thrown out a cyclone. It is hard not to get caught in the swirl. It takes a seasoned attorney to do that. And he did not get pulled into the bullshit with them at all, or at least not in a way that you could tell. And we saw attorneys get pulled into the defense attorney's swirl. I mean, if anyone's going to throw out a cyclone, it's a bit more artful when Alan Jackson does it. Jackson and Yannetti threw out all kinds of stuff. And it looked like the prosecution was trying to play whack-a-mole in their case because the prosecution was trying to disprove the defense, not prove their case. And we saw that, I think, in both Karen Reed cases, more so in the first one. But we did not see the prosecution deviate. And it's one of my critiques when we see prosecutors trying to chase down every avenue. You have to try your case. And then you have a rebuttal case if you need it, but you have to try your case. And the defense do a really good job in a lot of cases of pulling the prosecution into their bullshit and making the prosecution respond to them. This prosecution team was like, y'all do your stuff. We're going to just try our case. We're just going to try our case. And it's great to see. I love it. Try our case. Stay in your lane. Try your case. Don't get caught into the swirl. And I think the prosecution team here did that really, really well. They were methodical in this case. And I imagine we'll see the same in the financial case. If it goes to trial, I'll be keeping a look. I'm very curious. Let's see. Jill said, okay, I missed it. How many minutes did the jury take for deliberations? I didn't count it down in minutes, but it was just under 3 hours. So however many minutes that is. Just under 3 hours. Grayspace said, what could be more egregious? Yes, exactly. And when Alessi started getting going, you could see the prosecution trying to respond, which is a bad idea. You got to let them do their thing. You cannot get distracted. You have to just try your case. And I think that is very clear in this case. Let's see. OXO said, Emily, do you think they proved the burden? I think the jury thought they did. And I know a lot about this case from before this case. But does the jury verdict surprise me? No. Does the swiftness of the verdict surprise me? Yes. I was curious what the jury was going to do with the financial cases, but I also think that based on those jury instructions, yes, I think the prosecution proved what they needed to prove. I don't disagree with the jury verdict here. But again, the jury was pretty clear on how they felt about this case. So pretty clear in this, but we'll see. So let's see. Graceface said Brennan got so triggered every time the Reed defense mentioned the Sixth Amendment. Yeah, he did. But Brennan got pulled into it. Completely pulled into it. And I think it took him off his game too, which surprised me from Brennan because Brennan's a defense attorney who got pulled into the prosecution's chair and then got pulled into all of it and was like, no, we're all going to fight. It just spiraled. But when you can be an agent of chaos, it works well for the defense. It does not work well for the prosecution. The prosecution has to be linear, organized, calm, and steadfast. Confusion only benefits the defense. Confusion never benefits the prosecution. The jury has to understand your case. And when prosecutors get pulled into the defense's stuff and start playing whack-a-mole, they lose telling their story and telling their case. And they're just saying, not defense, not defense, not defense, not defense. And that is a problem. That was not a problem in this case. What does sentencing look like for her? LWOP plus. I haven't calculated the plus, but it's life without the possibility, parole plus. I haven't calculated the plus. There will be sentencing memorandums. We will calculate it another day. Anything I say at the moment will probably be wrong because my brain is very tired, but life without the possibility, parole on count 1. It's going to be plus some amount to life on count 2. And then I think it'll be a determinate amount of years on the other counts. And then there's still another case. So what happens on the other case, we're going to have to wait and see. But chat, here's my takeaway from that. First, we can get some rest tomorrow. We're not on verdict watch anymore. Second, we are not all the way done with Judge M. There's a financial case. There's still a financial case. We're not done with Judge M. And there's still closing. I will keep you in the loop in the app. If anything pops up that we need to talk about, we will probably just talk about anything that pops up the next time we stream. It's not going to be tomorrow. We're not doing, first of all, Team Baker needs sleep. Second of all, today was very long. Very long. Very long. EDB needs sleep. Team Baker needs sleep. Everyone needs sleep. We're going to just do that tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. But we are not done with Judge M. There will be sentencing in this case. I'm going to keep an eye on if there's any filings, because would it shock me if there were filings in the next few days? Nope. I'll keep you posted in the app if anything pops off tomorrow. I imagine all the attorneys are going to need to sleep. And then we'll go from there. But because there is another pending case, anything Kouri says in jail calls is still going to be grabbed. So it's not done because there's another pending case. So we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. And then the civil case is not done. There's a lot here. So we're not done with this. We're not done with this courtroom. We are not done with Judge M. We are not done with this case. And I am still stunned. I'm stunned. This jury came back. 75% of you are like, yep, also stunned. Stunned. Hey, T, why am I streaming? They came back with a verdict. I stopped streaming for 37 seconds and then they came back with a verdict. I tried. Travis is just getting home from practice. George came in and visited earlier today. Do you want to say hi to Lawnards or I was just saying goodbye. I need to eat dinner. George doesn't want to say hi. That's okay. George said hi earlier. He did come in and hang out. You can say hi. Did you have a good run?
I
Kinda.
What's up, everyone? Hi.
They came back with a verdict.
All right. Enjoy the verdict.
Yep. We did that. I need to get food too. I'm gonna come.
Do you want to eat what we have cooked already?
Go get you food first. I'll eat whatever. Go get you food first. We'll see what's left. Go get you food first. All right. Thanks, T. Yeah. Did T just get done from practice? Yep. T just got done from practice. Their show is just turning up to be so good. It's so good. Emily, is that because it's his senior year and he's a feature performer? I mean, also yes. Also yes. But also yes. So I'm going to go see how practice went. Lawnards, thank you for riding with me on this wild, wild day. This case, I'm still stunned. It was just so bumpy. This case was so much bumpier than I expected. But when all of the things get unsealed and we see the rest of it, I'm just going to be, I'm curious. I'm curious to see where this case continues to go because we know it's not done yet. I agree. We do need Judge M stay focused on the soundbar. I was definitely not prepared for a verdict tonight. At all. At all. Ode Maris. Emily, did you cover her pretrial hearing? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We have an entire Kouri Richins playlist. We covered the bail bond hearing where the sister testified about getting punched by Kouri. I might be amenable to going back and revisiting that after trial and watching it again instead of having you go back to the old coverage. We might have to go look at that. We might have to go do chat. Not tonight. Do we want to do that this week? Do we want to go look at the bond hearing this week? We'll look at it this week. We'll go over it again with new, fresh eyes this week instead of watching old coverage. Well, now we'll go see what we didn't. For those of you that didn't watch it, pause, stay focused in the style of Judge M. If you haven't watched it yet, don't. We'll watch it together and see what we learned that we didn't learn during trial. We'll go back and watch the bond hearing together to see the sisters. We might not watch all of it, but the sisters' recitation of what went down with the safe. I think we should do that this week. We'll do that. We'll do that this week. And I covered the preliminary hearing and some of the other things. But there's stuff that came in trial that we hadn't seen in pretrial hearings, including the Orange Notebook. So we can go back. We'll take a look at this trial the next time we stream. We're going to take tomorrow off, give all the mods a rest, give me a rest, give Team Baker a rest. But we'll take a look at some of the other things for this case. We're not going to just yeet immediately. We'll take a look. See if any interviews come out in the next day or two and take a look at those. Take a look back at what happened with the safe, because we have a lot more context for what happened with the safe now. And we can go from there. So, Lawnards, we'll put pause on the board at some point and we'll take a look at this case. Thank you to Team Baker. Thank you to y'all for being here and making this the number one place to watch cases. I cannot believe how fast this jury came back. This jury was so over it. They were like, clocked it. Done. And I think that tells you what they thought of the evidence in this case. And we will be talking about that more later this week. You already have the Lawnard app. We got a lot to talk about later this week, and we will. So, Lawnards, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a Lawnard. Stay hydrated. I know tomorrow you're going to be like, what do we do? Go catch up on what you haven't watched. We'll be back on Wednesday. It'll be good. Take a day. I've got work to do. You've got work to do. We've got work to do. And I will see you in the next one because we have a verdict. We have a verdict. We have a sentencing date. And we've still got more to talk about with this case. So I'll see you soon. Take care. Good night. That was so fast. All right, Lawnards. I'll see you soon. Bye. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you don't miss a live stream or any of the updates on the cases that you care about most with the Lawnerd app at lawnardapp.com. It's a free download on iOS and Android, so I can keep you in the loop, because you never know when something's going to pop off. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being a Lawnerd.